Well, good morning, our beloveds. Today, we will come from a very regulated place and space. Hopefully, you can hear the vibration in the voice, which speaks to being calm, centered, and grounded. Now, what do you note about our speech? Another is learning this valuable lesson. When you are co-regulated or just simply regulated and stable, you tend to speak in a calmer, slower fashion with thought moving ever so gently through the hallway. When you are dysregulated, whether it is to the upper part of the emotional spectrum or to the lower part, meaning you are excited or angry and frustrated as two points of contrast, you tend to speak faster. So when you are dysregulated, even if you are super excited, you may not be making good decisions because your amygdala is the one that is moving you through this process. It is the emotion center. And it is a great place to figure out what you feel, but it is not necessarily a great place from which you make the decisions. You choose your path, but you don't choose the steps or the processes by which you wish to attain those goals. And it is because when you are dysregulated, you will step over your feet, stumble over your feet, trip, bump into corners. It's that same experience that you have when you're dysregulated and impatient. When you are in a very calm, centered state, you make decisions that are thoughtful, processed, hopefully well thought out, though not necessarily, and you move with regularity through the process. Have you ever noticed when you go grocery shopping and you are not rushed, how you notice and observe more things within the grocery store? People, additional products, maybe the store environment itself. And when you are rushed, you know exactly where you need to go in which aisle, and you have this laser focus that focuses on just those items, but you don't really observe the rest of the stuff in the store. That is an example of dysregulation, if you will. Co-regulation is where you and your environment and your other people around you are in a space of regulation. It may be that each of you brings this to the table, or it may be that you bring this to the table, allowing somebody else to entrain into your regulated state, thereby creating a co-regulated environment where you impact and affect the emotional stability of others. Are these things that you've ever given much thought to? That you can, simply by being calm, impact how others feel within their own body? That this actually offers a literal space of safety for them to kind of marinate in? So we would encourage each of you to do some mindful breathing. Be really mindful when you're just present and when you speak. If you really think about each word that you are sharing or expressing, you pay greater attention to what you're saying. But this requires regulation so that your prefrontal cortex, or the thinking part of your brain, is the one choosing the words and not your amygdala, which is your emotion center and also the place where you engage out of when you are in fight or flight mode. And we're not saying by any means that the amygdala is bad. It serves its purpose even when you are in fight or flight mode. But most of you need not be in fight or flight mode. You have chosen that as your coping mechanism because you feel pressured or rushed to behave differently. For example, if you're driving down a single lane highway and somebody approaches you and pushes you, do you pull over? Do you maintain your speed? Or do you speed up so that they don't sit on your tail end so closely? What do? Do you get upset? Do you even notice? What is your response when somebody is tailgating you? Well, your response will tell you a lot about your regulation status. If you speed up, that means you are not grounded and centered, unless, of course, you notice you were going too slow and you speed up to go to the speed limit. But if you speed up beyond your comfort zone in order to make them happy, though you don't really know, that's not a healthy response because you're allowing somebody else to change your behavior because they are bullying you by tailgating you. Do you just hold steady, saying, nope, this is who I am? Or alternatively, do you pull to the side of the road, allowing that individual to pass so that they can go at their desired speed and you can pull back out and drive at your desired speed? Do you see how just that singular experience will tell you a lot about who you are? We would argue that the co-regulation is where you stay straight and don't pull over, thereby allowing the other person to entrain into your mindset, which is, I'm driving speed limit, you're welcome to back off, this is where we are. When you pull over, you sometimes enable somebody's bad behavior. It's not a bad thing, it is a choice. The choice that we would encourage you not to do or to follow is to speed up, because if you're driving faster than at your comfort level, you are at risk of having a car accident or making a decision or a choice, because now you will be dysregulated because you'll be driving at a pace that is out of your comfort zone, which is the fight or flight stage. Now, you get to choose which path, and there are other choices as well, but these are the three that we have opted to give you because they give you an option or an opportunity to figure out what your response is to stress when you feel uncomfortable. And when you at least know what each of these responses means, you get a better understanding of who you are. If you pull over, you just want others to feel happy and content. And so you move so that they get their will or their wish, and then you go back into the lane and you're content too. But that is enabling their behavior. Now, is enabling good or bad? By most definitions, it is bad, but it is a choice because you want other people to feel content or safe within their body. So now we seem to be contradicting ourselves here, because our another says co-regulation is where you bring somebody into a regulated state. And if you don't pull over, the individual behind you will continue to be frustrated. But that is their choice. They can also choose to back off and find a different response to how they're behaving. When you're at a table with individuals and you're co-regulated, your calmness may actually irritate some people, and they may feel offended or insulted that you're not taking their position seriously because you speak in such a co-regulated manner, but they're not co-regulating with you because they choose not to. So there are many different ways that a particular experience can occur. And we're just encouraging each of you just to look at some of these things. Give some thought rather than just blindly acting without having any insight into how your behavior affects others. It is important because you are a communal people, and thinking and worrying about how you do impact others is not a bad thing to do. What you do with it is what is most important. We don't want dysregulation. We don't want codependency. We're seeking to instruct you all on interdependent relationships, which is where you are wholly soul within your own being. Holy soul, what does that mean? S-O-L-E or S-O-U-L? Well, we would say both. You are a holy soul within your own being, and you care about the well-being of others. You can love them from afar, or you can love them from close up. But that's what we're talking about, the interdependence where you recognize that you coexist with fellow human beings who have emotions and feelings and needs, strategic needs for housing, for food, for safety. These are the types of things that we're now beginning to integrate into our another's perspective. She has felt these things before. Now we're helping her to come up with the languaging through her social work training as well as her own observations on how humanity behaves. We can only work within the language construct and experience that she has because her dictionary does not include terms that she is unfamiliar with. Occasionally we'll give her something, but it's because she has heard it somewhere, or we spell it out vibrationally for her so she can look it up. Not an ideal way for channeling. Too long, you all would get bored, and she gets frustrated when she's a slow learner. The point of all of this is find who you are and be calm in that space. Slow down your speaking pace and your thought process, if you will. Don't race to the solution. Don't be impulsive or impetuous. Come up with your solutions and then sit with them a bit to see if they still resonate or marinate within you a day later. Sometimes you all make decisions. You get married on an impulse, and then a week later you're regretting it. If you're going to buy a candy bar and you purchase the wrong one on impulse, no real big consequences unless you're allergic to something in there. But when you make an impulsive decision to marry somebody, well, the consequences are a little bit greater. So we would encourage you all to be slow in your processing, slow in your thinking, thoughtful in your thinking, and marinate in what you want to create before you act out of that. So it is not an impulsive decision, but a well-regulated, well-thought-out, well-intentioned decision to move forward. And then, even if it doesn't work out, you know it's not because you made a poor choice, only a choice that didn't work out as you had desired. There is less reverberation within your soul of, I made a mistake. when you are slow and processed, and how you get to that conclusion of what feels right for you. Find your pacing, find your methodology, and lastly, find your love language and be consistent, as others will be able to co-regulate with you within that vibration of what aligns for all of you. It's really that simple. It is an orchestra that comes together to find harmony and balance in each of the instruments and the sounds that they produce, so that it is melodic to your ear and to the ears of others. And so it is. Namaste.